Hey everyone, welcome in. I'm Christian Hinton, Associate Editor for Tire Review. I'm here with Phaelona Bradley of Yokohama Tire. She's one of our newest 2024 3633 inductees. Phaelona, thank you so much for joining me. Talk a little bit about what you do for Yokohama.
Thank you, Christian. I am the Director of Customer Service and Sales Support. I oversee the both the commercial and consumer customer service divisions. I'll keep going.
That's okay.
And I also oversee sales support because for customer service, I'm responsible for making sure that process improvement, overseeing the training, making sure that the team has what they need for the day-to-day function, and most importantly, my job is to make sure that I'm advocating for them so that they have what they need to function on a daily basis.
Gotcha. And again,
Yeah.
we are so excited to have you in this year's Club 3633 class. We talked a little bit the other day, and I had just a couple of follow-up questions for you about our conversation. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is your start. You started as a temp, and you worked your way up. And I just want to know what motivated you to stay in this industry and pursue different roles with Yokohama.
Well, what motivated me is that I felt like Yokohama it was very like welcoming, at all levels. It with Yokohama, I feel like we're comfortable. I can talk to anyone in the company and you not feel like you're, like the low person on the totem pole, so to speak.
Right.
So there's a level of comfort there. The people that you work with were from the start very welcoming. I felt like the leadership at the time and even now were always very supportive. And after a couple of years, I felt like it was a place I could stay long term.
Why is that support something that's so important, especially like in today's world? It seems like when you're trying to move up in an industry, especially like the tire industry, that can be kind of difficult to navigate through. Why is something like that to you so important?
Well, for me, that's important because if you don't have that, then if you are able to still rise to a different level, then what happens when you get there? So you need to know that the people above you are behind you, so to speak, and those that because ultimately we're all together, in
Right.
moving the company forward. So the support is really important to make you feel like like you belong, in the company, like not like you're an outsider, like you should actually be there.
Right, absolutely. And Falana, you said when we talked that you place such a strong emphasis on work-life balance. And I'm just really
Yes.
interested if you could give me some examples of some strategies or routines that you follow to ensure that your work-life balance is what it should be to you. And what does it mean to you?
Okay. Well, to me, the work-life balance means that I'm more productive, I'm more efficient in my day-to-day if I have the balance. And this is something I had to learn along the way in this role. But now what I do to make sure I have that balance is we're on a hybrid schedule. So days I work from home, I try to make sure I take a short walk. During the day when I take a break. I I don't wake up and start reading emails. I did that at some point, but I found that I could start my day more focused when I gave myself a little grace period, have my morning breakfast, and then and then start my work day. I'm much more efficient that way. Like,
Yeah.
even if I check emails before the start of my official start of my day, not doing it first thing in the morning, or even not trying not to read emails up until bedtime.
Yeah.
I think it helps me maintain focus.
Absolutely. And looking ahead, I know we talked a little bit about your journey in the beginning here, but looking
Mhm.
ahead, I'm just interested to know what your long-term career goals are and how do you see your current role helping to achieve those goals?
Well, I think there's still more to be done in my current role.
Mm.
But I think where I am now has put me in a space where I can still learn more about different areas of Yokohama while still contributing and helping to encourage and and I guess I would use the word enhance the team and the skills that everyone already has, because I have a good team that I work with. So just helping to build them to support the company. Obviously, times are changing, so we have to constantly look at the way we do things in the workplace, and how we're going to continue to support the customers through those changes, because we have customers at different levels, and
Right.
some that are advanced technological in technological sense, and then some maybe not so. So we want to make sure we're available. So in my current role, and even later, I'd like to see that I really contributed to a team that was able to support the continued growth of Yokohama.
Absolutely, and that's great to hear. A little bit off track here, not necessarily Yokohama related, but we talked a little bit. We touched on your volunteering in our first
Yes.
conversation, and I'd love for you to elaborate on the organizations that you volunteer with, and a side question that you can answer after. What motivates you to volunteer? Why do you do it?
Well, I volunteer. Well, I'll start with the with who I volunteer with. I
Yeah.
volunteer for a company called Reading Partners, and they what we do is I volunteer basically as a tutor. So there's a nationwide program, but I think that I work with the LA based one. This was beneficial because I could work do it virtually. So it makes it easier for me to be a little bit more accessible for the program. And what Reading Partners does is ultimately it makes sure that kids like kindergarten through fourth grade are brought up to the proper reading levels. It's a program designed for basically company, I mean, children in schools and underserved communities. So, and then often there are kids like currently below the reading levels, and they believe the Reading Partners has said that, from the kindergarten up to fourth grade, we learn to read, but then after fourth grade, you read to learn. So
Yeah.
it's more really, really important up until that stage in life for the kids to really get what they need. And early in life, I thought I wanted to be a teacher. So it kind of gives me a chance to get my feet wet with teaching and still being able to encourage kids. And I mean, it feels nice to be able to do it. And sometimes just a little support is all someone needs.
Absolutely. And I mean, volunteering to me is just it's something that only a special amount of people can do, right? It's like you got to be dedicated to not only your personal life and your job and everything else, but the fact that you find the time to go ahead and volunteer and do stuff like that. I just really, really appreciate that. What does an average day look like for you when it comes to volunteering? Like, do you go to these schools and help the kids out when it comes to that, or how does that look?
No, it's virtual. So
Oh,
what
okay.
happens is, and it's pretty interesting. They have it. Reading Partners has it all figured out. So we have designated times and days that you sit with a student. I've been fortunate to have the same student throughout. I started this back in February. I signed up in February, so I've had the same student without. So it's been nice to see her grow.
Yeah.
It's a young first grader. And so how it works is, I mean, it's during the day. So sometimes I have to take time out of the work day, or I'll start my work day early so I can end it a little early so I can be available, because the program has to occur. The sessions have to occur during the school day for the kids to make sure that they have the internet connectivity and the
Sure.
access. But what happens is I log in at a specified time, and it's like a curriculum that they provide, and the student logs in, and so we can see each other, and I have the curriculum. It gives me guidance on what to do. I can shape it, to my own, to adopt it to my personality, and
Sure.
also the tone of how I think the it's going. But how we start the session typically is I read to her like 5 to 10 minutes. So I select the book. They give you their designated books that you can work from. So I select a book from that list. I read to her for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then we go through certain lessons. Sometimes it's sounding words, sometimes it's sounding specific letters.
Mhm.
And if I know that we maybe had a hard time in a previous lesson, then sometimes we can focus on those things, but they give a specific, so I have a specific curriculum to follow. And so each week, and then at the end of each session, she reads to me,
Yeah.
which is nice. So it's good to see how she absorbs the things that we go over. And so that book is
Yeah.
already selected. And then once the session is 45-minute session, and once the session is complete, I go in and I make notes as to what we did that day, where we left off, how I thought she was feeling that day,
Yeah.
and just things like that. So it's really nice, and it makes me be more in tune to just her and the interactions with her, or just any of the students, that you work with, and are they engaged today, are they not, and if I can pick up on what those distractions may be, and how we were able to stay on track. And then they work with different tutors on certain days, so because I can't do it every day, I leave notes to make sure that they know where we left off, and
Mhm.
then where they would need to pick up. So if we didn't complete the lesson, then they would pick up after that. And then the same for me. I pick up where the previous tutor left off.
Oh, that's great. Um, you recently, correct me if I'm wrong, but you recently became a grandmother. Am I right about that?
No, I'm almost there.
Almost a
Almost
grandmother.
there.
Okay, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Well,
Next month. Next month. Next
next
month.
month.
Next
Well,
month. Yes.
early congratulations from me,
Thank
and
you.
and
Thank you.
I just, if you could just tell me a little bit more about your family, talk a little bit about that.
Well, I have one son, so an adult son, clearly,
Yeah.
and this is his first child, which makes it my first grandchild.
Yeah.
And he lives in Georgia, where I started my career, Yokohama career, and but we're both born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
And so that's where most of my family is. That's where my parent, well, my dad lives there, my mom and my siblings are in Georgia. I'm the youngest of three. So yeah, so we are looking forward to this big event coming up next month.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Do they have
just
a name picked out or anything
deal.
like that?
Well, I'm sworn to secrecy,
Okay.
so I can't share
I
that.
appreciate that. No, I appreciate someone
Yes,
who holds on to their secrets. Believe me, believe
yes,
me. Um,
but they do. Yeah.
I'm also interested, just a last question or two here. I'm
Mhm.
interested just in like, other than maybe volunteering or dedicating yourself to Yokohama a little bit, talk about some of your hobbies that you have. Are you a big reader? Are you into any new movies right now? What are you into hobby wise?
I do like reading. I in and out with movies or binge watching shows. I'm trying to lay off the TV a little bit, spend a little bit less time. I
Yeah.
think this time of year is easier to. I'm trying to be more intentional about spending time with friends and family,
Mm.
because life can just quickly pass us by. And
Yeah.
so in the off, when I'm not working, I enjoy traveling. Like I mentioned, I have family in Kansas City and Atlanta, so it's important for me to take the time to make sure I go and spend time there.
Sure.
So enjoy the time with the friend family, which is obvious, precious time, right?
Yeah,
And so,
absolutely.
and then outside of that, I enjoy reading. Uh, I do enjoy like going to painting classes, like the
Oh,
sip and paint classes, which I think finding those pretty fun,
yeah.
and just spending time with friends.
Absolutely. I really, really appreciate you doing this today. I really appreciate you being part of Club 3633 for this year.
Thank you.
Welcome to the club.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. Thank
Of
you, Christian.
course. Of course.